no retreat, no surrender. That is Spartan law. And by Spartan law, we will stand and fight and die. A new age has begun. An age of freedom. And all will know that 300 Spartans gave their last breath to defend it.
Edward and Yasmin moved to America in 1968. 5 years later, Basil Guirguis was born on October 28, 1973, in Queens, New York. 2 years later, his sister Vivian was born. When Basil was 5 years old, the family moved to Edison in 1978, where they still reside today. Basil graduated from J.P. Stevens High School in 1991 and went on to graduate from Rutgers University in 1997.
Favorite time with Basil, I'd say when he first bought the Avenel house, before he got married. We would work on the house together, and breaking down walls and sheetrocking the whole place and painting and everything. And pizza every day, like 3 times a day. We'd sit on the floor. There was no furniture or anything. We'd sit on the floor and eat pizza, take little breaks here and there. But yeah, working on the house was probably the best time.
When I think about good time with Basil, for a priest, most likely the most important and precious moment for a priest when I see someone confessing his sins. And I have to say that one of the most important memory I will never forget personally as a priest, when I went and I sat with him privately and he was actually confessing his sin, and the way he actually was confessing was touching me very much. That day I was so touched by him. For I consider this is one of the most important memory with me with Basil. Probably I'm going to talk about it because he was actually wanted to make sure that, you know, he will tell me everything. He wanted me to read the absolution for him. I felt that he is very ready. That's why that day, the day he passed away, I felt it's a day that to celebrate, not a day of sadness, because I know that he is in a better place right now.
The favorite time I had with Basil when he came late at night, and he was about just 18 years old, and I was talking to him, what happened, why you're late? They said, you come early. I said, Dad, I'm 18 years old now, I do whatever I want. I said, well, that's great. I'm glad you are actually feel responsible. So from now on, you will have your freedom, and with it, it goes responsibility. That was fun, because I taught him how to be independent and responsible. And he kept that. I always remember that discussion with him. I never forgot it. And the one after that, when he had Evan, and he was sick and you worried about it, he comes back and says, you know, I never realized that when you had me and I was sick, you felt the same way. I feel it now. So this is one of the discussions we had together that showed me his material.
What was your favorite time with Basil?
Anything.
My favorite time with Basil was every day.
So there are a number of things that Basil did surprise me, but I think the one that like takes the top is I guess in the last couple of years, in particular and through Facebook, we haven't spoken. We didn't up until that time speak for a while, and I ended up getting a message from him telling me that, you know, he's been keeping an eye on me and he's really happy with what he sees. And I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but I had gone through a couple of things and then came back from a couple of things and so on and so forth. And he was probably one of the first people when I was kind of walking my way back into a better reality. He was one of the first people that really embraced it and was incredibly encouraging about it. And I remember being very taken back by it when I read his messages and everything. It was just really encouraging. The fact that he did that not just for me, but for so many people while he was going through his own thing was, I think, a surprise for most people. But yeah, definitely blew my mind.
Surprises. Basil had lots of surprises for both of us. One time we bought him a cougar, but it was in my name, a red cougar, and he only had his permit, and he came to work. He asked me, where do you park and stuff like that the night before, but I didn't think anything of it. And then he came the next day with one of his friends, took the cougar, the red cougar, from the parking lot and drove away. And everybody came to me and told me about somebody came and took your car away. And two Spanish people, two Mexican or something like. And then I said, no, I don't know of anybody. And my son only has his permit. He cannot come and take the car. He knows that better. So I assumed that it was stolen, and I called the police. And I said it was stolen, it's a stolen car. And then an hour later, they came back, and because he knew that I was getting off work, so he came back and with his friend parked the car wherever it was and just went home. So I had to call the police again to tell them I found the car. So that was one of the big surprises.
One of the surprises, early surprise of Basil, when he got on the two-wheel bike and started driving it without training wheels. He took over the two-wheel and drove, and nobody ever taught him how to ride a car. I ride a bike, of course the car after that came in. No wonder his kids doing the same thing.